To make a living, Jay Leno had to be a nice guy. Good jokes, family morals, and a faithful husband. He was followed by a story for 40 years, though. Something that happened that could have ruined everything. Leno never denied it at all. Now that he's 75 and taking care of his wife who has dementia, he's changed his story. Some of what the report said was true. He says it. Hollywood will be shocked by the things he writes in his book. He told a lie about someone who meant a lot to him, but no one knew it. The popular host in the US knew something very valuable. Originally from New Rochelle, New York, Jay Leno was born on April 28, 1950. He could hear two very different sounds in his house. Catherine was his mother. She was from Scotland and often sang songs with a strong accent. Angelo, his dad, worked in insurance and was always talking quickly to get deals. She came to America by herself when she was 11 years old. She came in not knowing any English, but promising herself that her kids would learn how to work hard. To meet his sales goal, Angelo once drove through 3 states in one day. During the evening, they told stories and sang songs loudly. Little Jay sat down at the table and paid close attention. By the time he was 7, he knew his dad's wholesale pitch by heart and would act it out for kids in the neighborhood. He used fake insurance plans to make a little extra cash. Early on, he learned that being funny and working hard could both get him rewards. One more thing he decided was that he would never live off of one paycheck. Jay had a hard time at school. People at school thought he was slow. He frequently mixed up words when reading. He experienced dyslexia, but he was unaware of it at the time. His first grade teacher said he had trouble with basic spelling. His whole year had to be repeated in 5th and 8th grade. He was told to drop out of school in 1968 by a guidance aide. Jay could have broken down, but he made a joke instead. He tried to sound like the man and changed all the letters. His peers laughed at him, which got him in trouble, but it made him want to do better. Starting that night, he started writing jokes every night. He wrote so much that he had to read whole notebooks backwards, thinking that it would help his brain. At age 17, he broke into the school's announcement box and played a fake weather report that said teachers were going to be fired. He was not allowed to go to school for 3 days, but the joke became famous at school. And Jay saw that even his trouble reading could be used to make people laugh. At age 14, Jay got a job at Andover's Tony's Pizza and made $1.25 an hour. He couldn't use his dad's nice Buick, so to bring pizzas, he used an old Dodge. His time limit for each delivery was less than 20 minutes. He began by calling the customers. Acting like a worried dad, he asked if Jay was there yet. They would then be ready at the door. It made time better spent. He worked on his jokes while driving by looking at the rearview mirror. He scored each joke on a piece of paper that was dirty with pizza grease. It snowed in February 1966, and he showed up to a college party with 2 pizzas. He wanted to trade them on stage for 5 minutes. Laughter about anchovies and snow chains. Please let me have the key to the bathroom. Of course it is. Do not attempt to steal this big ring that holds it. Topping $22 was his first paid comedy job. He messed up the food, and Tony told him to stop. The comic with the pelican face is Leno. Jay remembers the moment, though. Also in 1964, Jay took part in a talent show at the YMCA in his area. He tried to act like Rodney Dangerfield, who was his hero. To look like Rodney, he even put cold cream on his face. The makeup on him, though, made him look like a clown when the stage light hit him. The crowd began to boo because they thought he was making fun of Rodney. Jay got scared and ran off stage, breaking the sound system and knocked over the microphone. He had to repay his brother Patrick's $5 loan that he had used to get in. Later that night, he played the sound of the alcohol 47 times. He promised himself that he would keep going only if he could write his own stuff. In 1969, Jay got into Boston's Emerson College. They only let him in because the founder felt bad about his reading problem. He majored in speech therapy, but neglected to show up for most of his classes. His regular nightly stop was an open mic in a cafe in a strip mall. One of Jay's jokes about a Scottish French teacher was stolen by another comedian on November 12, 1969. Because Jay was so mad, he ran out from the stage and fought the guy. People began yelling, "Read him his vowels." The campus cops showed up, but no one was arrested. During the fight, Jay broke his front tooth, which gave him the chin-forward look that became part of his image. The school told him they would kick him out, but Jay offered to start a real comedy club instead. There is still that club around today. While still in high school, Jay moved to Los Angeles with only $350 and a beat-up Chevy. He slept on Tim Thomerson's couch and didn't get to act until 2 a.m. totally free. The comic store's owner, Mitzi Shore, didn't like his clean look and kicked him out for 6 months. Jay did comedy in pizza places and even a topless bar inside the Aladdin Casino for $40 a night to make money. He got back into the comedy store with the help of David Letterman in 1974, but Jay never forgot how Mitzi treated him and wouldn't perform there again for decades. The first time Jay appeared on The Tonight Show was March 2, 1975. The band was given 5 minutes, but Johnny Carson told them to stop and only gave Jay 3. Carson and Jay got into a fight backstage because Jay was mad. Carson said he shouldn't push it. Although the directors made things better, Jay's performance was put on hold and wouldn't air until May. For a 24-year-old comic, that 9-week wait seemed like forever. Went out with 5 women who all had the same birthday from 1973 to 1976. September 5th, he made a joke that it was like going out with the same person 5 times. Somebody even wrote about him and called him Mr. Virgo Vortex. There were some strange stories going around in Hollywood that Jay was obsessed with asking people their birthdays. Later, on April 30th, 1976, Jay met Mavis Nicholson at the Comedy Store. He hit her by mistake as he hurried to the bathroom. They talked down by a broken toilet. Later, he saw her again near the women's room and asked her what day it was. Jay cracked up when she said September 5th. Later, they ate chili. Jay was busy that year, doing over 300 shows and driving 52,000 miles. Their first real date didn't happen until August. They made it work. Jay had a small role as a driver named Mookie in the 1978 movie American Hot Wax. A $5,000 reward was given to him, and cameras followed him around for 10 weeks. Even though it cost $6 million to make, the movie only made $2.2 million. A manager told him to keep doing stand-up. Jay fell into a slump after the movie didn't do well, and there was a pay strike at the comedy shop. He considered getting a repair job after selling his old 1955 Buick. But he played for 2,800 people in Denver on October 6, 1979. It was a big hit, and he decided that night that he would always be a comedian. That November 3, 1980, Jay and Mavis got married. The date they chose was the same as his parents' anniversary. A friend hosted the small wedding. In January 1976, they started going out together, but it wasn't love at first sight. Mavis had only come to the club to meet people for her writing job, but she thought Jay looked great and told him so. Their love for each other was stronger than their love for each other. They promised to be there for each other in good times and bad. It was very important to do that, especially after Mavis was told she had dementia in 2024. When Jay started alternating hosting The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, his career took off. Back in 1986. Nevertheless, he was careful. In public, he pretended not to want Carson's job, but he talked with NBC executives and worked behind the scenes to become the next host. This strategy worked. When May 25, 1992, came around in Hollywood, many people felt like they had been betrayed. A lot of people in the business were shocked when Jay Leno took over The Tonight Show. David Letterman was thought to be the next show. Late-night TV host Johnny Carson wanted Letterman to take his place. Carson had been in charge for decades. As it turned out, Carson would often send Letterman speech jokes in his later years. In this case, NBC chose something else. The trophy was given to Leno, who had been Carson's usual guest host. Carson wasn't trying to hide how sad he was. In his last shows, he never talked about Leno. Many people saw this as a clear sign when he went on Letterman's CBS show twice later. Letterman felt very hurt. He left NBC in June 1993 and began his own show on CBS. People in the company called that whole change so bad that they thought it was a test of loyalty. After having to choose, Leno was criticized for betraying people who helped him. He looked different after that. Someone who was ready to burn bridges, even if it meant doing what they had to do. There were problems on Leno's first night as show. On May 25, 1992, his first show aired, and it was a disaster. There were a lot of famous people who loved Johnny Carson who didn't show up. After that, Leno had to call agencies and almost beg them to send guests. Ratings were really bad. NBC got scared, and things were worse behind the scenes. Helen Kushnick, Leno's longtime manager, began quietly banning stars who went on other shows. like Arsenio Hall. This immediately made foes. After only 4 months, on September 20th, 1992, NBC came to Leno's house. Either he fired Helen or the show canceled. People told him she was bad for his job. Unfortunately, that mess at the start almost stopped everything before it even started. Jay Leno changed his career path in 1993 and started making jokes about O.J. Jessica Simpson. Leno made everything funny, from the murder case to the courtroom drama. He created more O.J. More jokes about herself than about anyone else, not even Martha Stewart or Michael Jackson. Using people dressed as Judge Lance Ito, he made a weird dance show called The Dancing Itos. Using the theme from Gilligan's Island, he even made fun of the murder case. Letterman didn't make those jokes because he thought the case was too serious. However, Leno went all the way and turned sadness into nightly laughs. Few folks believed it was enough. They said he went too far by making fun of death. However, the scores went up. Unfortunately, that success cost something. Some people thought that late-night entertainment had turned mean. Something out of the ordinary saved Leno's reputation in July 1995. Large Grant was caught with a prostitute named Devine Brown. A big scandal happened. That being said, Grant kept his spot on The Tonight Show. His departure on July 10th was by himself. "Do not use managers or spin doctors." In his face, Leno asked, "What the hell were you thinking?" Grant didn't avoid the question. He said that he was very wrong. That night, a huge number of people watched the show. Leno later told his wife that he felt bad about making fun of Grant's shame. But it did work. People liked how honest you were. Even earlier, in September 1992, Leno had already done something tough. After 17 years of helping him get ahead, he fired Helen Kushnick. NBC compelled him to. She was avoiding stars, and keeping her was too risky. While she was away, she filed a lawsuit. Fighting was bad. By 1999, though, Leno's show was getting 5 million people every night, which was more than Letterman's show. The punishment showed how tough Leno would be to keep his job. It was 2004 when NBC made a big news. The Tonight Show was supposed to be run by Conan O'Brien starting in 2009. Even though it looked like a peaceful plan, Leno was really pulling off something else. Leno was working out deals with NBC for a new show at 10 p.m. while telling everyone he liked Conan. His show would air right before Conan's, which would make people less interested in him. Astonished people. He smiled in public like he was trying to hurt Conan's chances. There is an unsaid rule in TV that this move broke. Feeling sneaky. It also got rid of a third of NBC's evening shows, which shocked everyone in the TV world. Many people thought Leno was really leaving when he said goodbye on May 29, 2009. His tears caught on camera, and he said he felt blessed. But he was back on the Jay Leno show in September 2009, only 4 months after that. Saying goodbye to him was just a show. More than 18 million people watched that first night back. The trick was broken, though. Some people said that Leno faked his feelings to get pity and then smashed his replacement. Later, things got worse. In January 2010, NBC's private emails got posted online. There were plans to move Leno back to 11:35 p.m. push Conan to 12:05 a.m. It was a devastating blow. The emails even showed that Leno's staff made fun of Conan by calling him stupid. A manager named Jeff Zucker told Conan that he would be banned for 2 years if he didn't agree. That made Conan write the famous People of Earth letter, in which he said no and blamed Leno. NBC had to pay a lot of money to clean up the mess, Conan told his workers. It made people in the comic world disagree regarding it. During the storm, a strange thing appeared. A 2014 chat with Leno showed that all 5 women he had dated, including his wife Mavis, were born on September 5th. He mentioned that he could feel people whose birthday was that day. Apparently, he told Mavis about it as soon as they met. Other shows made fun of this strange trend. Some people began to wonder if Leno's need to be in charge affected his personal life as well. In 2006, Leno went to court against someone who stole his jokes. He sued book editor Judith Brown for using his work. The case was finally over in 2008, but something strange happened during the process. Several other comics said that Leno was taking jokes personally. Fans didn't know how common it was for comedians to steal lines until it was shown. Not everyone agreed with Leno's call to protect joke writing as an art form. A court case cost him about $1 million and made people doubt his reputation as a nice guy. In 2015, Conan was sued in a similar way, and he settled the case in 2019. He went back to The Tonight Show in March 2010 after all the trouble. Things were not the same anymore. By July 2010, the numbers were going down. It went from 537 million to about 4.4 million people watching him on average. People in the crowd also aged. It got to be 56 years old on average, which is more than 10 years older than Conan's crowd. Leno's support dropped from 1.5 to 1.15 among people aged 18 to 49, who are historically important. It wasn't enough to beat Letterman, but he was still ahead. 4.99 million people watched his last week in February 2014, which was his best number since 2010. But no one could show that he ever said he felt old. After retiring for the night, Leno focused on cars full-time. His amazing collection was shown off in Jay Leno's shed. The Burbank Airport has storage for 180 cars and 160 motorbikes. Over-the-top cars and steam cars were all there. In 2012, there was no proof of a big garage fire, but on November 12, 2022, something very bad did happen. Fuel spraying on his face caught fire while he was working on a 1907 steam car. Around 7% of Leno's body was burned in the second and third degree. There were 10 days that he was in the hospital getting air and skin grafts. Despite the fire, Leno was back on stage in just 2 weeks. He did shows at the Comedy and Magic Club in California in November 2022. "We got 2 shows tonight, Standard and Extra Crispy," he joked about the burns. The concert was full. His quick recovery surprised everyone. While he was on Tonight Show, he never stopped doing stand-up. Fans still liked his jokes that made fun of himself, and how he made funny out of sad things. On Last Man Standing in 2015, Leno started a new part of his life as a regular character. His role was that of a plumber named Joe Leonard. Off-screen, he and Tim Allen were rivals in a fun way. They were always trying to beat each other by driving cooler old cars to work. Nancy Travis, one of their co-stars, said it was hard every day. There are even pictures of their car fights on Tim Allen's website. Leno actually liked cars outside of TV. Every action he took, even on set, showed it. In Burbank on November 12, 2022, Jay Leno was working on an extremely old car from 1907. It was a white motor company car that ran on steam. He told a friend to blow air through it while he was lying under it trying to clear out a clogged fuel line. But all of a sudden, gasoline came out. After a second, the starter light set it on fire. Jay's face was burned before he could move. In the end, 7% of his body was burned. What hurt him the most was the burns on his face, chest, and hands. His face had third-degree burns, according to the doctors. They even used skin from dead people to help him get better. His stay at the Grossman Burn Center lasted 10 days, and each day he received special breathing treatments. Within a few days of getting out of the hospital, Jay walked back on stage and told the crowd, "We've got 2 shows tonight, regular and extra crispy." Despite the laughter, his pain was still very real. It happened again. After only 2 months, on January 17, 2023, Jay was riding a 1940 Indian motorcycle near his workshop. He had been alive for 72 years. He started to go back when he saw that the bike was leaking gas. He chose to speed up by going through a parking lot. Of course, someone had put a wire across the lot. The mark wasn't clear. It felt like a rope hitting him in the neck. He lost control of his bike. 3 bones were broken: the shoulder, 2 ribs, and both kneecaps. He needed surgery on his shoulder and had to stop doing his comic shows. Although Jay stayed funny about it again. He commented, "What could go wrong with a 72-year-old man riding an 83-year-old motorcycle?" It went on longer than that. In November 2024, Jay was in Pittsburgh. That night he had a show, but he chose to walk to a restaurant first. Since the road was about 1.5 miles long, he tried to cut it short by going down a hill. He believed it wasn't very steep. On the way down, though, he slipped on stone. He plummeted 60 feet. Poor guy broke his wrist when he hit the ground. He cut off a nail. He wore an eye patch because his eye was so swollen and damaged. Despite everything, he still did the show that same night. Afterward, he made a joke. "The great thing about being this age is that you don't learn from your mistakes. That stupid thing you do over and over again." People began to wonder if Jay was purposely seeking out danger because of all of these accidents. Over 180 cars and 160 motorbikes are stored in his garage. Many of them haven't been fixed up and are dangerous to drive. He confessed that writing and working on them made him feel alive. As soon as he healed from one hurt, he did it again. Immediately after the fire in 2022, he was back in the garage. Despite the motorbike accident in 2023, he didn't relax. He still walked on stage after the fall in 2024. The people around Jay began to worry that he wasn't just having a bad time. He may be hooked on the rush. He started having trouble at work because of these crashes. Due to what was described as a serious medical emergency, he had to cancel a big event in Las Vegas after the fire in 2022. After he crashed his motorbike, he had to stop doing stand-up routines again. Even though the hill fall happened right before another show in Pittsburgh, he still went on. Multiple times, his team has had to change things. People close to Jay know he's putting too much stress on his body, but he tries to act like everything is fine. Although he's hurt, his desire to keep acting is both inspiring and scary. The story of Jay has another side that lots of people don't know about. No children were born to him and his wife Mavis. Mavis had no desire to have kids. In fact, she told her mother when she was 7 or 8 years old that she would never get married or have kids. She thought that's how women got stuck. That changed when she met Jay at the Comedy Store in January 1976. That night, he was on stage. The girl was in the front row. They began to chat. Without delay, she told him she didn't want kids. Jay fully understood that. "My wife and I have been married for 32 years, he said one time. "Although we don't have any children, we do have a cat." But Mavis was not like other people. She helped lead a huge fight against the Taliban in 1999. She and Jay gave $100,000 to help Afghan women because they are feminists. Mavis even stopped an $8 billion pipeline project in Afghanistan by a big oil business. Due to her strong views, she gave talks in Congress and held events with famous people. She became a target because of these actions. She called it "Say No to Gender Discrimination in Afghanistan." She was brave. Things weren't always easy in their marriage, though. Jay worked hard all the time. He worked non-stop when he was host of The Tonight Show, which paid up to $255 million a year. There were times when he hid in rooms at NBC to listen in on secret talks about who would host after him. NPR once said that Jay was so focused on his comedy work that it was almost unhealthy. He was great because he was driven. Sadly, it kept him away from home. All of that changed in April 2024. Jay asked the court to give him legal power over Mavis's money. For years, she had been showing signs of memory, and finally, doctors said she had Alzheimer's disease. The court documents were very sad. Mavis sometimes didn't see Jay. The day she was born, she forgot. It seemed like she was talking about her parents all the time. The judge told Jay he was in charge and praised him for taking care of the person. Mavis was in great hands, even according to their lawyer. In April 2025, Jay gave an honest account of this. He told her he still loves being with her. Besides watching TV and playing memory games, he makes dinner. In reality, though, it's really tough. After feeding her, he cried and said it still bothers him. He feeds her and takes her to the bathroom and visits her all day. Despite not enjoying the work, he is happy to be the one doing it. He even told her one time that they ate dinner at the White House with Barack Obama, but she didn't believe him. Another strange fact came to light. All 5 of the women Jay dated were born on September 5th. They weren't planned. It took place now. And so is his wife Mavis, who was born on September 5th. Laughing, she told him her birthday when he asked. He told her there was nothing wrong when she asked him why. In later years, astrology fans found out that Jay's moon sign is 13 degrees Virgo, which is also the sun sign for women born on September 5th. There are now those who say it's not just luck. The name for it is a cosmic match. In April 2025, Jay also talked about David Letterman. They had trouble with The Tonight Show for years, but Jay said he would like to see him again. After Dave's heart attack in 2000, he was told not to talk about it on TV, he said. Newspapers attacked him when he didn't say anything. Dave's only enemy, according to one story, was Leno. According to Jay, that event still hurts him. He even crashed Letterman's house in Malibu one time as a surprise. He did say it was one of the worst days of his life. Now that he is 75, Jay is writing his own story. He said there would be shocks. The notion that he had an affair in the 1980s is one subject. That's what he said for years. He now says that the story is partly true. He did not say much, but he gave the impression that fans do not know much. The novel will be published at the end of 2025, near the time of his 75th birthday. The rights are being fought over by big publishers, and people who know about it say it could be one of the most shocking Star books in years.